Good morning everyone and welcome back to Bareham Engines. Sorry the eyes are a little bit baggy guys, it is about 8:15 in the morning and I couldn't wait to start the video today because it's really exciting this week. Today we've got the liners turning up for the pre-Crossflow. So this is Malcolm's trick engine that we're going to be building for the block down there that's already bored for the liners, so they're going to be arriving today, those specials that I had made. The head is having its porting done, so apart from that we've got it all laid out ready to go, so hopefully by the end of today I can have those liners in and maybe have them bored, but it'd be really good to get that block finished and you know, we can really crack on with that engine this week. But also we've got most of the bits for the Pinto engine, but more excitingly we've got the BMW strip. So this is the M54 engine. I said it was an M52 but it's not, it's an M54 and Paul has managed to strip it and we've got the pistons out. So here's the pistons all laid out on the bench. You can see it's rather an unusual skirt on this one. It's like a bit of a split skirt. The reason for that, I'll be honest with you, I've never seen a piston like that and I do not know. So if any of you guys are familiar with that, please educate me. I'm going to be doing a little bit of research on that today. But obviously, now the crank's still in it, and the big end journals all look pretty good, to be honest with you. Although, you see some unusual wear there. So we're going to be taking the mains off, get the crank out today, have a look, see what the main bearings are like. But the bores, now the bores look pretty good, to be honest with you. I haven't measured them, but there's no wear ridge at the top whatsoever. But the first thing I've done is obviously felt the rings and they are razor sharp. So this is the second ring we put in. You can see there we've got probably about a 15th thou ring gap, but they're definitely sharp, they're definitely warm. But the oil control ring, we've got a whopping great gap here. It's about over 1 millimetre, and that, you see the tension in that ring is just gone. There's no tension in that oil control ring whatsoever. Look, you can literally just pop it down the oil with one hand. So that oil control ring is doing precisely nothing. So that in a way is good news, guys. That I'm pretty convinced is the reason for his oil burning. So we're going to go ahead and measure these bores. I've got a feeling that they're a cast bore. These are a cast-in bore, these. And if they are, then I can deglaze them, which is good news. But if not, there's not a lot I can do about that. That is my sort of worry over that the bores were knackered, because they're not. The cylinder head, pretty standard stuff, obviously been burning oil, but the gasket doesn't look like it's been giving any issues. So pretty straightforward stuff, guys. We're going to give this a good clean up, give it a blast of paint, etc., and just go through it. New bearings, new rings. If the pistons are sort of knackered, I shall, if it isn't a cast bore, then if the pistons measure what they should measure, then we should be okay, providing the ring lands are all right. But if not, it's going to be new pistons, rings, new oil pump, and go through the cylinder head basically with new gaskets. But yeah, so far so good with this. Now, I have had a few of you in the comments and had a couple of emails saying what is happening with the vapor blaster, because it's all gone quiet. Now, the problem we've got is on our estate, I think the vapor blaster is a bit too big to get down on a tail lift. So their delivery guy has only got a vehicle with a tail lift, not a forklift, and there's no forklift on our estate. Although it was trying to match in with them delivering it and us getting a forklift. But one of the lads on the estate has hired a forklift Friday just gone, and he's got it till the Friday come in. So we've been sort of liaising with Vixen, and they're going to be delivering it Wednesday, maybe Thursday latest. So at the end of this week, guys, we are going to have our vapor blaster. So that could tie in with doing this M54, and we could give it a test on the block, see what it's like. But yeah, really excited for that. Right, everyone, thumbnail and title time. I just want to thank you for all your comments, etc., and your advice from the last video regarding our thumbnail and title on that one, which was the supposed bogus invoice. Still nothing as yet, but we will report back if we hear anything, guys, on that. So yeah, very suspicious on that. Whether as I say, whether it was the guy or whether it was the person he bought the engine off, don't quite know what's going on, but we will let you know if we hear any more on that. Right, today's thumbnail and title, bit of an odd situation here, and the reason I'm putting it in a video is just to get you guys advice, really, see what you think about this. But we're in a bit of a predicament. So to cut a long story short, our customer, who is a garage, they are doing a job for another customer who is a body repair place, and then they have got the car in for their customers. So we're sort of 4 people down the line here. So the deal is, the customer has took this Alfa Romeo to a place to have the body sort of done, tidied up, etc., engine bay, all that. He's took the engine out, which needs rebuilding. He's then sent it to our customer, who is going to be building it, but obviously we've had to do it to do the machining. So by the time we've got it, we've obviously, it's been stripped, our customers stripped it, we've done all the machining, the cleaning up and what have you, we've supplied all the bits, and we'll give it him back for him to build. Our bill is about £1,300, but then obviously our customer is going to have quite a good bit, a good bill for the engine build to go back to his customer. Well, long story short, the actual guy that owns the vehicle has gone missing. Can't get hold of him at all. Phone's dead. End of story. So yeah, just need a bit of advice from you guys, really. What do you think should happen? Who the responsibility lies with? Who gets paid? Who doesn't get paid? Who gets, what do you do with the engine? What do you do with the car? What are the legalities of it? Obviously the guy that's doing the body work, he's left with a car that's registered to the owner. Our customer is left with an engine that hasn't been built yet, but once it has, I suppose he could sell the engine. When do we get paid? It's one of those. So yeah, just a quick one really, guys. Put down in the comments what you think. It's a bit of a weird situation. There being sort of 3 or 4 people involved here, but yeah, the engine is a GTV V6, quite a nice vehicle. You would have thought that the owner would want his car back, whether he sort of gets in touch and says, just stop what you're doing, whatever, I haven't got the money, but yeah, just cannot get hold of him for love nor money. So yeah, let us know what you think on that, guys. Right then, guys, something slightly different here. As you can see, I've got a camshaft in the lathe. So this is an inlet camshaft out of a Ford Cosworth YB, and what we're doing here is doing a bit of a modification. You can buy these sensors here, which you've got to modify the back of the camshaft, so the sensor locates in there, and this is a pickup. Well, it's not a sensor, it's a sensor pickup for a camshaft sensor. So the modification is you put the camshaft sensor in the top of the rocker cover, and it obviously picks up off this, and then you get a camshaft sensor, which the Cosworths don't have as normal. They normally only have a crank sensor. There is one issue with trying to do this. Obviously we can only hold it in the end. The camshaft doesn't go up the middle, and because of the lobes, there's nowhere really to hold it. So what we're going to do here, we've held it one end, as you can see, and then we're just putting our steady running on one of the end housings here. So first thing to do when you're setting this up, fortunately in the end of this camshaft there is a sort of a taper in there, somewhere to put our centre in. So we put the centre in so we know that the cam is running true. Then what we do is we put our steady in, and these steady feet here are bronze, so they don't damage the camshaft journal. Now what we do, first of all, obviously we centre it up, then we do the bolt up down the bottom, which clamps it to the bed. You can see there we've got the V on one side that sits on the bed properly, and we clamp that up. Then what we do, we've got 2 lock-in nuts here, and we do the bottom ones first. So what we do is we wind it up until it just touches on the journal, obviously with some oil in there, making sure that the feet are clean, so it doesn't score the journal, and we just literally nip it in there, and then just nip this locking grub screw up. Then we do the back one, and then we do the same there. So now that is running. You can see where the oil's been wiped off the journal. that is where it's running on there, perfect. So what we do is we've just got to do the third one now. So we just bring this over, touch it on there, and then we do the lock up, nip that on. So now that is fixed. Then what we do is we just wind the top down. And you can see it just touches on there. We don't want to go too tight, just literally finger tight, just nipping it on there. Now you can see that that cam runs absolutely perfect. And what we can do now is remove the centre, pull it back, and you can see that that cam is running absolutely perfect now. See there, and that is a 12mm locator. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill a hole. We want to be going 8mm deep at least with the drill, just for the location. A small drill in first, 20mm. And then we're going to send an 11.5 down there, and then we're going to send a 12mm reamer, just so that locates in there absolutely perfect. So we put the drill in here. Now this is an 8mm drill, and you can see the way I always set it up on the lathe is make sure that the two flutes are at sort of 3 and 9 o'clock, if you know what I mean, horizontally basically. What we want to do is go in there, go in the end of the cam probably about sort of 3 or 4mm, then come back. And then what we're doing on here, you see the 0. We want to wind that 0 back until it meets the body there. Okay, then we know that that's on 0. Then what we do, we take the lock off the slide, push this tailstock forward until the outside of the flutes are sort of level with the edge of that camshaft. Then we lock the tailstock on and we wind forward. Nice and slowly. And we want to keep our eye on there. You can see there we've gone in, so that's 10mm. And we wind her out, so that's back to the 0 again. Lock off, tailstock out. You can see we've now got a nice 20mm deep hole, 8mm diameter. With the 11.5, we'll go in 3 or 4mm, and then out to the 0. And then we just push that in until the flutes come right to the edge. And then we want to wind in another 20. There we go. And the sensor slides in there. It's a lovely fit. No side to side movement, absolutely perfect. So what we're going to do now is go in with the tapping drill for the M8, and we're going to go in about 35mm from the front of the cam there. So get those flutes lined up. I know some of you may say, well, if you go in too deep, won't it weaken the camshaft? But not at that diameter. You know, it's literally only an 8mm tap, and it's a good old diameter of the camshaft, so no, not going to affect that whatsoever. So what we've done, we've obviously put a bit of grease on a starter tap, and we've sent that in with the machine. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to finish it with the tapping wrench, just so it bottoms out. And we'll just come out very, very gently, wind that out. We'll bring that out by hand now. And we're just going to send the bottom in tap in. And there we go, guys, drilled and tapped. I've got an M8 stud in there, and what I'm going to do is, just so we know that we've got enough room on the back of this, I'm just going to put a little counter bore in the back of there, just so we can sink the washer and the nut in there, and then we know that it's pretty much all the clearance at the back. So yeah, that's it, job done. Right guys, so great news, the liners have arrived for the pre-Crossflow block. So I've just checked the sizes here, just had to take another thou out of that first bore, but the other 3 are absolutely cock on, so I'm going to give that a good clean up. And these liners are all ready, because they're custom made, they're ready to stick straight down the holes. Unfortunately today it's 5 to 4, I will get the liners in today, but I'm not going to get them bored because they are semi-finished internally. So tomorrow morning we're going to get it set up, board, face the block, and then we can persist in cleaning that, get some paint on it, and that thing is all ready to put back together. Right, very quickly guys, we've got the pistons over here. These are the 0.5 pistons for the Pinto. You see Paul's got the crankshaft in there all nicely. He's just going to check the bearing clearance, but really quickly, this is one reason why, although these are brand new and they're Marler pistons, don't assume that they're all going to weigh the same or be identical. So the first thing we've done, obviously Paul has stripped them down and he's weighed each individual piston, and we have got 10 grams difference between two and the other two. And the only reason we can think of that is because on the box you've got dates here. So you've got two boxes here with the same date on, and then you've got two down here. One of them is from 2021, and that is the beginning of 2022. So these ones here are the ones that are lighter than these two. So what I've had to do is, the only way you can remove material is out of the base. You can't do it externally at all. So what I've done is, on this one, you see the difference between that. That's 677 grams with all the rings and pin, etc., and this one is 689, so that is, well, 12 grams more. So what I've done is turned it out at the base there. You can see not enough to affect the structure of the piston at all. It's just literally to remove the material. So yeah, 11-12 grams in aluminium is quite a lot of aluminium, to be honest with you. So never assume that they're going to be right, guys, and that is one reason why we weigh everything and make sure it's all cock on, which obviously adds to the time of the builds. The customer has got another set of com rods coming to us, and then we can really crack on with this and get this one built. Well, thanks ever so much for watching today's video, guys. Remember, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you in another video. Cheers.